today we're going to be talking about distortion. This is a pussy-free zone. This is only if you want to make cool, loud,
Chris music.
So what is distortion? Firstly, let's understand the difference between distortion and noise. Distortion can be very nice, has a lot of kind of culture behind it, a lot of history between stylistic uses of it. Noise is this. I'm gonna bully you if you do this. Don't bully people. Distortion is where you have your sound source and you're adding extra harmonics to it that weren't always there. And noise is where you have a poor link in your audio chain, and that's kind of all the undesirable little crackly bits. Historically, some noise that we've been familiar with is like record static, tape hiss, and really bad connections from janky audio cables. And the Line 6 spider. So we have like three different common types of distortion. The one that you're probably most familiar with is clipping. So the idea is that you have kind of this as your resolution for your dynamic range. The middle being nothing, and this being your peak and your trough. So at the very top, you can't go past it. And at the very bottom, you can't go past it. But we can drive our audio to go past it. It's just going to look flat at the top, kind of like a square wave, and it's going to have extra harmonics in it, and it's going to accentuate a lot of those extra harmonics, and it's going to sound different depending on how much is there. There can be with soft clipping, which is from the days of like analog with tube amplifiers. It's going to be a little bit of a warmer sound at first. It's going to be a little louder, have a little more body that's kind of going to be a little more present, and then it's going to get more and more aggressive, and then it's finally going to sound like it should. Loud. And then there's hard clipping, which comes from the realm of digital. That's where whenever it gets past that line, there's no resistance that it's going up against. Those soft, smooth edges had just gotten sharp, and you'll cut your finger on it, and it can sound good, but most of the time we try and emulate tube distortion. Hard clipping is necessarily bad, but you do need to be smart with it because we're not as used to hearing it. So the other kind of distortion is where you mess with the way that our computers handle audio. I do not have a good name for this, but the idea is that we have our sample rate is going to be like the resolution that we have for the harmonic content. That's for our frequencies. And then we have the resolution for how loud and how quiet your audio is going to be, and that's our bit rate. So each bit represents an amount of dB, and normally 24 is pretty good. Get a whole lot lower than that, and you start raising up your noise floor. You can mess with your audio by purposely restricting that and get some pretty cool and creative sounds out of it. Right here we have the Bit Crusher available on Audio Tool, and what we're going to do is turn it on. We're going to have the song running, and as we're going through, I'm going to start sweeping down the bit rate a little bit. So you'll notice that as we approach 5 or 6 bits, that you can hear the noise floor quite obviously rise up, and it sounds really gritty. If we take it all the way down to 0, there's no resolution to work with or make your song sound like a song anymore. So we're going to bring that back up, and now we're going to take the down sampling, and we're going to lower it, and you'll notice it has an immediate effect on the clarity of everything in the upper range. It's going to start with the high end of the drums. The down sampling on the Bit Crusher is pretty aggressive. Now we're going to talk about the Wave Shaper. The issue with talking about the Wave Shaper is its description is kind of vague. I either like it to all be resting at the bottom, and to have different points, whether 3 or 4 normally gets a pretty good balance and gives it a kind of nasally synth quality. And then kind of following the original wave shape, but just really messing it up and giving it a black metal band logo kind of look. And you can control the amount that you're sending to this too to really strike a balance on it. I would always EQ after the fact, really shaping the tone of it. Well, the only advice I can give with this, because I'm stupid with it, is just play with it and see what sounds good.